What's up, everybody? Wraith Realm TV. So we're going to do a little quick review of AEW Dynamite for 2/18/2026 or February 18, 2026. I'm going to say this was a good show. Wasn't a bad show. I would say it's a 7.75 show. I didn't think it was terrible. I think AEW, I kind of get the narrative and their niche and what they do. They're just doing their same playbook that they've always done. They give you announcements of what their pay-per-view is going to be 3 weeks before or 2 weeks before the show is going to happen. Kenny Omega did come out during the day saying that he's obligated to do the Capcom tournament stuff, so he's going to bail out of Revolution. So it made sense what Swerve Strickland did tonight. And they cut promos. There were backstage segments left and right. It wasn't a terrible show. Look, I like what Okada's doing. Yes, is it not for everyone? Sure. The stuff that happened with FTR in the ring, yeah, okay, cool. Like, it's not for everyone. You know, it's the same with WWE. A lot of people like that cookie cutter, SpongeBob, WWE, blander than shit promo. That's okay. Like, we all can like different than shit stuff. You know what I mean? What I shit shouldn't make you eat and vice versa, you know? The end of the day when it comes to wrestling. And I always tell this to each and every one of you. Love pro wrestling. I've been enjoying MLW and JCW, Gigolo Championship Wrestling, and NWA more than I have all the main stuff. TNA is a shell of themselves. They've been blander than shit. So, you know, at the end of the day, like what you like. You know, I watch them all. I watch the highlights. I watch them all. If I can't watch the show live as it's happening, I'll watch the highlights. And then I'll come here and review anyway. Because I like reviewing and having a discussion and having the art form of opinions back and forth and the art form of talking about, you know, combat sports and things like that, you know. So at the end of the day, like, yeah, they sold 2,672 tickets on Monday and then they sold another 2,000. So they look like the whatever small arena they were in Sacramento. I've been to where that is. And it's a pretty nice little arena that they have. It's small. It's a small like theater venue and it works out. AEW's been doing smaller venues and making it work. They don't need to do big venues. WWE did it for years. Back in the early 90s, they were doing like small arenas and they were making it work. I'm cool with that. And then do big arenas behind it. You know, I'm cool with that. But, you know, tonight, Swerve Strickland turning into a heel. I'm happy about it. Putting Kenny Omega on the shelf. Kenny putting him over. That's the way wrestling should be. Kenny Omega's done everything early on in AEW. And, you know, he's been injured. They've been putting him on a pitch count, a wrestling count, however you want to slice it and dice it. And they don't want to take a chance of him getting hurt. And this is the perfect time, and he's obligated to do things. And doctors have said, you know, that he has to watch what he does. That's why they have a match count. That's why they've been doing the things. They've been protecting him with the Young Bucks. Now he's healthy. Now he's back. He's not doing a full-time schedule. And I don't want Kenny Omega to do a full-time schedule like he once was. He could be a John Cena, Roman Reigns-esque for AEW. Come in, do here and there. Be like Sting. Come in, do what you need to do. Win a belt here and there. I'm okay with that. Because when Kenny Omega puts over somebody, he makes it look good. And tonight, with Strickland, he made it look good. And what can we say about Strickland? Strickland is $1 million talent. He deserves all the extra extension money that he got with AEW. And he's the future. He's the guy. You know, I see him and Adam Page again for the title this year. I think Will Ospreay, him cutting promo and doing a vignette on this show, put him in the fold and have him beat one of them to become champion. It's well deserved when he comes back. It's there for him to take. I think Will Ospreay's got a lot to prove. But, you know, I think Kenny Omega, I think Swerve Strickland, Adam Page, and MJF, there's your pillars. There it is right there. And then you throw Kyle Fletcher. AEW's got an amazing thing going on with youth. And I'm just telling you this. I'm telling you this personally. Like, I think this is going to be Will Ospreay. And I think at the end of the year, when Will Ospreay does come back, I see him and Kyle Fletcher for that World Heavyweight title. And I see them feuding. It's going to be like Rock Stone Cold levels. And I've said this before. I like Kyle Fletcher. The Proto Star is great shit. People sleep on him. Now, people are saying, well, he's a reckless wrestler. Fuck no. Look. Sammy Guevara is a reckless wrestler, people think too, but I like Sammy. I think if you take Sammy off of Ring of Honor and you put him in the main roster, I would have him in the upper mid card. I think Sammy needs to be there. El Idolo, it makes no sense to me. Like, he's cutting promos. I think he needs to be away from the Don Callis family. I feel the Don Callis family has too many members. Too many members. I feel like El Idolo needs a woman manager behind him, like a Selena Vega kind of character, to make him better. But he's talking about, why is he like trying to step the line? He lost. He legitimately lost against Adam Page. He needs to go to the back of the line. Now I do see El Idolo being CMLL champion. I could see him going over to New Japan since he's got that deal that they've been doing with New Japan CMLL contracts. I could see him over at one of those pay-per-views winning the big one over there. I do think Andrade is championship material. It's how you're going to build him this time around in AEW. I do think he is championship material. I think Ciampa is championship material. Now, I don't know what's going on with Ciampa there. I don't know what's going on. Rumor has it out in the streets, supposedly the rumor, tweety, birdie, from what I've seen, Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae's contracts have expired, I guess, or they're not renewing, and they're going to be AEW bound because of what's going on with WWE, and they feel the same way as Ciampa. So I don't know if we're going to get DIY in AEW. Another rumor that's going around is AJ Styles. Where does AJ Styles go? You know, I don't know at this point. They're going to do a tribute show next week on Raw for him, so I don't know at this point. Chris Jericho's still with the roster. I thought that was a bad move, AEW. Bad AEW doing bad things. I said that. I just don't care, but I didn't like the fact AEW did what they did. Freezing his contract is not it for me. I didn't like when they did it with Britt Baker. I don't like when they're doing it with Camille. I don't like sitting wrestlers on the bench and having them collect a check. I would rather have them on Ring of Honor. I'd rather have them make another show that kicks off the week, do something. You know what I mean? So that's just my personal opinion. We get into the AEW Continental Championship match, or Continental Title Elimination match. Can we say Mark Davis is good shit? He botched a pile. He botched a pile driver against Jon Moxley. But this match, man, the bleeding, it played into Jon Moxley's wheelhouse. It was just a good match. It was a good opening, starting match. I'm not a big fan of eliminator matches. I don't care for those. But when you got Mark Davis that kind of got screwed over when Doyle went down with a torn, I think it was a torn pec injury. I honestly think, Mark Davis and Doyle would have been tag team champions because they need to uplift. Personally, they need to go and get some people for the World Tag Team Title division, because right now having FTR and the Young Bucks going at each other for the 15 billion time is not it for me, Chief. They gotta bring in some youth. They gotta reset that division because it's becoming bland. And the women's division on the other side, that tag team division is getting better and better with the inspiration being there, giving them some time to figure things out before they put them on television. Alex Windsor and the Bird Savages, or the Bird something rather, the Brawling Birds. I think personally, having that division heat up, I think it's going to be better than WWE's tag team division. I do believe that when it's all said and done. Tony Schiavone and Excalibur, they paid homage to a producer that died on the show. Again, the eliminator match was good. I didn't think it was terrible. I think it was a great opening to the show. Mark Davis is good stuff if you put him in the right places. Again, I'm going to say this. The Don Callis family has too many members. That's just my personal opinion. So we get FTR and Stokely addressing the Young Bucks. This segment was stupid, but it was funny at the same time. I wish the Young Bucks would do different gear than the same thing. They're trying to look like Macho Man Randy Savage. It's time to hang that stuff up. Just be you guys. Come out just being with jeans and a shirt, or sweatpants and a shirt or something, and just do it differently. I'm not asking you to be like the Usos, but I'm asking you to be like different. You keep coming out and doing the same. That's why I say the world heavyweight title side, the tag team title side of AEW needs to change. They need to flip that shit on its axis, because right now it's just not as good as I think it should be. And that's my personal opinion there with that. That's just my honest opinion when it comes to that whole segment. But I thought it was funny, Stothy coming out in a wheelchair, and then they do the super kicks, and then they turn around and all this stuff. So it was kind of funny. And then they challenged for the World Tag Team Championships. It was kind of funny. Then we had the AEW Tag Team Champion Willow Nightingale versus Marina Shafir versus Marina Sarakawa and Megan Bayne for the TBS title. This match was the match of the night for me. And next to Swerve Strickland. But I wish they would have done this on the pay-per-view, to be honest with you, or saved it for the pay-per-view. I think this could have been better in a pay-per-view setting. And again, Mina Shirakawa being her own worst enemy, taking too much time, and she lost. I mean, she got pinned. Saw that one coming. I get they have all this faith in Willow Nightingale, but I would rather see Megan Bayne win it. Like, we need to be pushing Megan Bayne at this point. I'm a big fan of Megan Bayne. I was a big fan of Camille. I don't know why they don't have Camille back in this division. If they could bring Camille, supposedly they're bringing back Dr. Britt Baker, and supposedly maybe Britt Baker and Camille come together. Maybe they both debut back, and they do a great debut, and they have a back half of their career better in AEW. I think it would set the TBS side of things on fire. I think they need Camille, and I think they do need Britt Baker back here. I think they need Monet back. Like, it shows. It's starting to show with the women's, like, I like Willow Nightingale. Don't get me wrong. I like Marina Shafir. I like Megan Bayne. I wish Megan Bayne would have came out with the title here. I don't, I'm not trying to be a hater, but I feel they have really good women's talent right now. They got something going on in AEW with the women's side of things, but I just feel, in my personal opinion, that they could do a lot more with Megan Bayne. Megan Bayne could literally be your Rhea Ripley. She could be literally that person, and they can transform her into things. I like the goddess thing that she's doing and the Roman thing. I appreciate her for it. But they need to have a belt around her. Like, it's about time they do that. And I feel the same way about Marina Shafir. You know, like, I get Willow Nightingale, but again, and then we have Mina Shirakawa losing again. Why? You know, you brought Mina in. She's been kind of chilling. She's been a little ice cold. She's been running around with Monet on these podcasts. Like, can we just put a belt on her? Like, I like least a couple of months. Put a belt on Marina, Shirakawa here. You brought her in to make her the, I don't know. I just feel like they're filling in for Sheeta, until Sheeta comes back. We did get a sighting from Thunder Rosa. It's nice to see Thunder Rosa back, but she's not really the upgrade. She's not the injection in the arm that you want, the adrenaline boost. You know what I mean? And I really thought, okay, they're going to bring her in with Chris Statlander. Here we go. We're going to have a tag team. They're going to win the tag team belts. Here we go. This is what they're going to do next with her. And then it turned into, oh, you aren't doing this. Chris Statlander wants her title back. And then Thunder Rosa is going to go fight Tekla anyway. And it's like, this is why I said this show was a good show, not the best show. Because these things made me confused. Like, hella confused. No Tommaso Ciampa. Like, what are we doing? I know the rumor has it that his two friends that he loves to pieces are coming to AEW, supposedly. Like, they're waiting for their contracts to expire. That's why you haven't seen Gargano and Candice LeRae. But, and even Candice LeRae going over to AEW, if that's the case, she would be another upgrade into AEW. I think you could pencil her in at a Ring of Honor. You can pencil her in for a TBS belt. I felt Candice LeRae did not get the love that she deserved. And then there's another rumor out there, or there's another speculation out there that Bayley may be done at the end of the year because they added time. Personally, I think Bayley's being treated like shit. That's just my personal opinion. If you want, and Bayley's older. See, these talents like Candice LeRae's pushing 40. And also, if you go there, Bayley's going to come in at 38, 39, kind of like, towards the tail end, her twilight. So do you have her come in and win belts all of a sudden out of nowhere? I don't know about that when it comes to AEW. We're going to see what the end of the year brings for Bayley. But Bayley's putting over people. And if Bayley's being a showman and putting over people like Kenny Omega's doing, I kind of see her out the door, to be honest with you. And Bayley should have been out the door a long time ago Seriously, she's done everything for WWE, and she like they're not even giving her another run with an Intercontinental belt, U.S. belt. They're not doing anything with her, and then she's sitting on the sidelines. It's kind of like disrespectful to her. Like you're not having her do shit that she needs to do. So again, Willow Nightingale again wins the belt, retains. That's that. Adam Page, the face to face with MJF, he's putting his title. Basically, he can never fight for a title as far as the heavyweight goes ever again. So if he loses at Revolution, which I highly doubt he's gonna lose. Now, when Danielson did this, when he was a fan favorite against Swerve, I think he won and won the belt. So again, if we do this, I think Adam Page will win at Revolution. These two dudes are great at promos. They're great at promo work. Like, there's no doubt about it there. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. MJF, they gotta have him start winning clean instead of these cheat and win things. Cause like he cashed in and then won, and it hasn't worked out the way I thought it was gonna work out. You know what I mean? I would rather see MJF be heel, win belt clean, and then build a faction around him. He's a faction guy. He's like a Seth Rollins character. Like, build him a faction around that stuff. You know what I mean? But this promo segment was good. I had no complaints there. The Don Callis stuff. Let me be real with you. The Don Callis promo stuff, and they're going crazy, and they're it's like, I'm over it. I'm over this shit. And then you have Okada looking stupid. Again, can we do a little bit better than that? You know what I mean? They need to drop some Don Callis family members. I think Kadeshita should be champion coming soon. I think when they run it back at Revolution, I think he'll be champion. I hope so. Because they've been having him on the shelf for a while for a championship belt. He's been hungry for one. Let him be champion. Let him roll for a few months in AEW with a belt. The conglomeration, Orange Cassidy and Tomohiro Ishii versus the War Dogs. Look, at the end of the day, Clark Connors is signed with AEW. I think Gabe Kidd is too. They're signed to a hybrid contract between New Japan and CMLL, that new contract system they have with AEW where they work all three companies. And to be honest with you, they're making Clark Connors look stupid, and he wasn't a stupid character in New Japan. And they're still doing the whole Bullet Club thing. Like, the Bullet Club is dead, right? David Finlay's WWE bound or AEW bound, depending on who you talk to. I just thought this was another one for the night. Like, AEW has this thing where, like, they start out hot and then they kind of cool down. You know what I mean? Ishii looked like he was hurt. Looked like he pulled his hamstrings, so I don't know what to tell you there. It looked like he was hurt. He came in hurt. He's the New Japan Strong World Heavyweight Champion there, so, at the end of the day. The conglomeration, look, that's another group that is another faction that needs to go. I feel like there's too many people there. This match went to Orange Cassidy and Ishii. Look, at the end of the day, it's a typical Orange Cassidy match. And then you had Darby Allin taking out Gabe Kidd, which is probably setting another match between the two at Revolution, probably. I would say probably as the opening match or pregame show match, probably, or kickoff show. The Brawling Birds versus Viva Van and B3CCA. This match was great. Viva Van, they need to sign her. She is so good. I've been following her. She's been on the indie scene for a while. B3CCA is good too. I think, personally, they should take the spot of what was going to be the two other people that her and her girlfriend. I forgot who they were. Comment down below. Let me know down below. I believe Aviva Van and B33 or BCAA, or my bad if I'm butchering her name, my bad, was very good. It wasn't terrible. They got some offense in, and then they got squashed. That's what happened. You knew the Brawling Birds, Jamie Hayter, Alex Windsor were going to win this. But you know what? It's another tag team for the women's division, and that's a win-win situation, really. The Brawling Birds did beat Viva Van and BCA, and then we had the trios champion Kevin Knight with Speedball Bailey versus Beast Mortos for an opportunity of the Don Callis family, or LFI, having a chance at the Trios Championships on Saturday night's Collision. And here's my opinion on all this, right? Let me just be real. The Trios Championship, if you had a championship to get rid of, they have too many belts right now. They have the All-Atlantic, the Continental, and then they have, like, the national title, right? Get rid of the national title. The national title is pretty much sitting there, what once was the Atlantic. Put the Atlantic belt on Ricochet, get it off of, or keep Okada on it, and just have Ricochet forfeit the other belt, and then have Okada and him go for a new Atlantic belt, personally, at this point. Because at this point, they have too many titles. They need to get rid of one, because it makes no sense. You should have 2 mid-card belts, not 3. 2, or get rid of the trios belts. You don't need the AEW trios belts there. I think that's just a little bit much. And even this, like Kevin Knight should be up in the mid-upper card. He should be winning TNT championship belts, not sitting in trios and tag team matches, my personal opinion. And same with the Rascals. You know, those guys are literally could be in your mid-card. And my other opinion is, if you have the national title sitting there, why don't you have, like, the Rascals, those 3, be in that division? Or why, treat it like a cruiserweight championship? What I would do personally, if you're going to have those titles, treat it like a cruiserweight, make it interesting. Again, Kenny Omega, Swerve Strickland, like I said, this match went the distance. Kenny put him over, and that was that. And because of obligations. Now, there was a vignette. I forgot to mention there was a vignette between Ricochet and GOA, the Firm, basically saying he put Jack Perry into the ground and all this stuff. Jack Perry's going to be back. He'll probably be your next national champion because they're putting him on ice. Right now, the tag team division, there's a lot of people hurt in AEW, so that's why, like, Jungle Boy and the Jurassic Express has been out. And then you had a Will Ospreay vignette. This is not where the best wrestle. It's where the Billy Goat wrestle and all this different stuff. So he's coming back. And then I would transcend him to the front with Ciampa. That's what I would do. That's what I would have going on there. But it was an unbelievable main event. I will give it that. It went down to the wire. It was like a pay-per-view match. But then you could tell Kenny was putting over Swerve Strickland. You can tell. Just buy it. Okay. So that's my review. It's a 7.75 for me. And I'll see you guys on the next one. I hope you enjoyed this review. Hope you've been enjoying my content since I've been back. And I'll see you on the next one. By the way, I'll be reviewing probably SmackDown this week, probably TNA. Don't keep me to it. I got some game streaming to do. If I don't, it'll be late. Sorry I didn't do an NXT review, but NXT was just right. It wasn't the greatest in the world. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.